Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning from Catania Alvin, or Project Truth Warrior, speaking from Hampstead in London, about 2.5 miles from the City of London, which is a different entity to Britain, or even part of London. It's a separate country, actually, just as the Vatican is, and just as Washington, D.C. is. Now, this is a wonderful documentary. It's called The Spider's Web, and it came out 5 days ago. And it is in different languages, so that's really fantastic for other people of other cultures to watch. You've got it in English, you've got it in Spanish, Italian, French, and I think others, many others as well. And this creator is named Independent POV. And so I'm going to start this going back, because I got onto his playlist. And here is the Spider's Web documentary. And here, this film you are about to see was entirely self-funded at a budget of £4,000. Good for him. So there we are underneath Independent POV. Can you see that? POV, Independent POV. And he writes here, at the demise of empire, City of London financial interests created a web of secrecy, jurisdictions, and that captured wealth from across the globe and hid it in a web of offshore islands. Today, up to half of global offshore wealth is hidden in British jurisdictions, and Britain and its dependencies are the largest global players in the world of international finance. Sponsor the next film on Patreon. So do go on to his description box. Sorry about that. And so he's got read a lot of that, and he's very keen to have people share this information. He's already got 1,868 comments, and he's been going for some while, 19,000 subscribers. Great guy. So, yep, we'll start it playing. It says, at the twilight of the British Empire, bankers, lawyers, and accountants from the City of London set up a spider's web of offshore secrecy, jurisdiction that captured wealth from across the globe and funneled it to London. Now, this in actual fact is what happened in 1340. The bankers, or should I say, that's when they crashed the system in 1340, and America wasn't, of course, in the situation then, wasn't known of by the old world, and the bankers or the merchants on the coast of Italy would plunder and gather, drag or draw or capture the wealth, the gold and then the silver and then the products out of different countries. And also, remember, Italy wasn't a whole country then, it was a load of states. And so this is where you get your bankers from, because they used to do their business on the side of the banks of the River Arno, amongst others. So
everywhere he stands. against the threatening years, staunch symbol of our common will to order.
What a face. I grew up with the occasions, the very few occasions we went to the cinema. I was born in 1939, so just before, in July, just before the Second World War started. And I so recall that same type of voice that would read the newsreels. I'm so used to seeing those soldiers march. Now, it's the Brits had moved over to America. Then it was the Americans. Now Donald Trump is changing that. But, you know, that's this. So this is part of my childhood experience of seeing these tanks, of seeing these soldiers, of seeing this fighting. And remember, who are the people that start the wars? The bankers. There's Big Ben. That's the gates of Buckingham Palace. These are the 40s clothes I used to see my mother in. Such a good title, The Spider's Web.
The British Empire. The largest empire the world has ever known. For over 300 years, Britain ruled, its armies conquered, and its bankers proclaimed the might of its currency.
Okay, so let's go back. We're now 2018, so we can go back we could go back 19, 18, 17. It was in 1694 that the Bank of England was set up by 25 men, headed by William Paterson, and that was in 1694, that's right. And now this is so important because the realm had always had the right to print the money until and on the throne was Mary, and a banker and moneylender came across the name of who became Prince William of Orange, and they married, and he was from the Jesuit influence. And William Paterson, who set up the Bank of England, went round and found 24 other wealthy Englishmen, had the influences also of the Netherlands and now, who am I trying to say? The Jesuits. And so the Bank of England was the last Vatican bank to be set up. Now, William wanted to carry on warring with France and Spain, and the privy purse was empty. They've just been doing so much warring, and he asked, or the bankers offered, whichever it was. It said that he asked the bankers, the newly created bank of the Corporation of the Bank of England, it was called then, if he could borrow money to carry on his wars, and they agreed to that on one proviso. And this has changed history the whole time, the whole of history, that he would give them the charter, that's the right, the royal right, to print the money instead of the realm.